Welcome to Chew the Fat. In this series, I sit down with high-performance guests and we talk about life, business, and what it takes to be at the top. This is part of my mission to raise $1 million for charity by writing a cookbook called Eat with Purpose. But I'm going to need your help. If you can share the content and leave a review, it's going to make a massive impact. And the bigger the audience, the greater the reach, and the sooner we can get to that $1 million goal. Enjoy the episode. So Chew the Fat tradition, tying it into the cookbook Eat with Purpose, is I cook a dish for the guest. Today, what I've done for us, a little seared lamb on top of some pearl couscous with a minted yogurt.
Unbelievable. Is this in the cookbook?
I've actually decided whilst doing it in your kitchen, this is going to be in the cookbook because I made it up on the plane and I was like, this is good.
All right, let's hoe in. Love an olive. Love an olive. Like chili. Like couscous. Probably a little bit more than rice.
You like, yeah, good.
But if we're at home, we try and eat when the kids are eating.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
5:36.
Yeah.
Like, you know what it's like.
I know what it's like. It's so good. Marty Fox,
Frank.
CEO and founder of WHITEFOX Real Estate. Welcome to Chew the Fat.
Thank you. Thanks for coming over to my house.
Mate, absolute pleasure getting to cook in your kitchen before you even arrived down the stairs. It was lovely.
While I was having a shower, I walked out and the meal was sitting on the counter.
I'll be honest with you. I was like racing in my mind. I was like, I kind of want to blow his mind that by the time he gets from his bedroom to the kitchen, the meal's done.
And it was.
And it was successful. You didn't pick me up on it. You weren't excited, but that's okay. That's fine. We'll let that go through.
Let it slide.
Now, you've shared many times, I guess, the upbringing, the story. And so I want to navigate away from that. But I'd love to get an understanding, like if you were to boil down your childhood and your upbringing to one thing that created the context of the Marty that sits here today, what do you think it'd be?
What would it be? It's such a great question.
Thank you. Welcome to the Fat.
I'm very emotional about my upbringing. Yeah, it's quite a hard one for me to answer because I had such a good upbringing, great memories with my grandparents, with my parents, with friends. But then on the same hand, like there was a lot of moments that, were really hard, like, the bullying at school, the moving of so many schools, the fighting between mum and dad, like, just like those sorts of little things. I mean, and there's kids that have had way worse trauma, but you're only able to comment on what you've actually gone through because it's relative to yourself. So for me, like I had a great childhood, but we didn't have much financially. I've said on many occasions, I shared a bedroom with my brother until I was 18. Some years it was my mum and my brother sharing a one bedroom. So, very tight knit, a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of, you can achieve anything in life if you put your mind to it. I loved that type of backing. So a lot of drive, a lot of strength, a lot of big thinking. Like, what could I do? How could I change the course of the family? What are you capable of, Marty? Because you're capable of doing anything that you want. So my childhood was just always love, support, drive, and a few little hiccups on the way. But I think that's what makes you then resilient. Without those hiccups, without those challenges, then there is no resilience and you are as useful as a wet tea towel.
And I know change was fully ingrained in your upbringing. Changing houses, from what I understood, like more than 25 times. Changing schools 7 times. And so I can understand that you as a business owner, as a leader, that's almost like a superpower to be able to be nimble within change. How do you then help your team kind of remain stable when you have constant change and growth in your business?
By leading with confidence. So, change is inevitable. And change can also happen to you without you having any influence on it. So particularly when you look at massive worldwide events like COVID, you can't, no matter how good you are at planning, no matter how together you are as a person, that was out of your control. So a lot of the things that occurred to me during my upbringing, they were out of my control. So I just became very good at being able to adapt to change. And I think that's a superpower. It's not the biggest, the strongest that survive. It's the ones that are most adaptable to change. And that's in love, that's in life, that's in business, that's in your own, mental well-being. You got to be able to ride the waves, enjoy the highs, and know how to rebound from the lows. So leading a business through change, which is inevitable, it's always going to happen. You just have to be the leader that sort of hits it head on and sees the positive even in the negative, because with every negative, there has to be a counter, and it gives you the ability to challenge and think yourself out of something or think yourself into something new. So when you think about change, it's actually an opportunity to grow because normally you talk about the fear of change, but that's where the growth occurs. So the more that we can find ourselves in a pickle, I know the more that we'll actually grow.
And have you had people self-select out based on that rapid change and that rapid growth and expansion that you've seen over the years?
Yeah, people do freak out and people want to go back to the old days when there was just 4 of us.
Yeah.
You know, I miss you, you know, being in there, being that. And people go, you've changed.
Yes.
And you go, okay, well, I know that I'm actually the same person that I was when I was living in a 1-bedroom with my mum and my brother. I'm the same husband to Charlotte that I was when we got married, when we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment in St Kilda. But the way in which I look at things has changed because with time you get smarter. With time you have more lessons. With time you have the ability to look back and go, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. So when people say you've changed, a lot of people go, no, I haven't. I'm exactly the same. Hey, if your values are the same, that's amazing. But in terms of have you changed, by fuck I've changed. I've changed astronomically. I'm not the same guy that I was a year ago when it comes to business and strategy and my thought patterns on what we could achieve and where we need to go and what the team needs. 6 months from now, I'll be a little bit smarter. So you've got to embrace, and when people say that you've changed, well, hold on, which part of me are you talking about? Are you talking about me as a person or are you talking about me and my strategies? Because my strategies are evolving.
Marty, I'm loving this already. Thank you. So, okay. And as you share that, the first thing that comes to my mind is this, like a mantra that I live by in business, which is like, if you expect your business to double every single year, then you as a leader need to expect the same of yourself. You need to double your capabilities to be able to grow with the business and provide value to it. So with that idea around you getting smarter is like, what do you do today to enhance your skill sets?
I'm able to surround myself with people that can execute the vision. So that's really important. And when you're growing a business, it's growing in terms of conversations, in terms of ideology, people coming to you with ideas, support. There's a multitude of things, you know, finance, marketing, legal, all these things start to sort of go up in scale. So you as the founder and leader can't wear all those hats.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was the founder, the business owner, the lead BDM, the marketing manager, the CFO, the in-house legal, all of it.
The barista.
The barista, still am, when Shira's not available. So you need to fill those positions. And those positions, you know, they have different timings. And you've got operations and all those other things that I said before. But for me, I've always filled those positions based on just the natural flow of who I met and who I resonated with and who I connected with. We've never really advertised for roles at White Fox, and I've hired people for people and I've been able to teach a skill or teach a role. And I love the fact that we have that, you know, corporate HQ that's actually not corporate, but we punch just as hard as these big corporates. You know, we opened up Perth in 5 weeks at the end of the year when 2 of our team at HQ were in the process of getting married. 2 were overseas. 1 was already, you know, hosting the Aussie Open. We were able to be so nimble and effective and strong in our delivery that we got it done.
5 weeks from the point of that first conversation to the office opening, or like what was that? What was
5 weeks from a license being granted to be able to operate. Yes. Literally 5 weeks. So, you know, it's that. And what you said before about wanting to double and then double and then double, you also need to understand that some years you just don't. So last year, did we double in revenue? No, we went backwards a little bit. But this year, we will quadruple. So it's all about timing and realizing that as a sales agent, you should never judge your income month to month. In sales, in real estate, you should judge your income annually because there's so many peaks and troughs in real estate, and people's decision making is long in property. As a business owner, you need to judge yourself I believe, in like 3-year windows. Because for us, we've just finished phase 1 of White Fox, and that's taken many years to sort of come to that point. It's like each company is going to be different in its flows of income and growth and expansion. It's all there's not one size sort of shoe that fits all businesses.
What is the skill set that you believe in yourself you need to hone over that next 3-year judgment period of Marty Fox?
Well, I think for the last 2, it was adapting to not being on the tools, which was quite hard.
What was the biggest learning lesson you went from going from the single largest contributor to the CEO that sits here?
Patience. So in real estate, when you're in the deal, things can happen quite quickly. When you're running a company, you need to understand that, yes, you need to be nimble. Things can happen fast, but to execute it to an extremely high standard. An agent does deals like that. A CEO, it takes a little bit longer. And, we've just hired someone recently. It's been 3 years in the making. We've just done a JV with someone that's been 6 years in the making.
Love that.
It's a very different ball game. And, people will see WHITEFOX at the end of this year and they'll say, oh, God, that's happened quick. All these offices around Australia. And it's like, it's nearly a 10-year overnight success. And in terms of my experience in running offices, I started running real estate offices at the age of 24. So that's 12 years of actually being at the helm in running teams. And what I've noticed, particularly with other businesses, is that there's a lot of CEOs that are running real estate agencies, and I feel that that's where there's a lot of disconnect.
Do you mean the CEOs as in they weren't real estate agencies ever? They were kind of more that like corporate CEO that come in?
Yeah. And I'm talking to these people in these companies and they miss the fact that the leader knows what they're going through. Very different game, real estate. Very, very different game. It's almost like being a coach of a football club, but you were never a good player.
That's a perfect analogy.
So for 7 years, I was player coach of WHITEFOX. I coached and I played. Now I'm coach.
Love that. And the part we missed out, because I jumped in with a new question, classic Frank, is what is that next 2-year skill set that you think you need to hone to get you to the next phase of the expansion?
The fact that I don't know the answer to it means that I'm very excited because in 2 years, I'll be able to answer that perfectly.
Love that. That's good. So
I'm embracing that I don't know what it is.
That's good. You said the word, it's a magic word for me in like leadership and the role of business, the coach. What I would love to know is get inside your mind is like, what does successful coaching of a team member look like today? Of course, sales, but then above and beyond that, now that you sit in the CEO.
My mum's never been in sales ever. Yeah. And my mum's been my life coach. She birthed me. She always knows when to call. She always knows when I need to be, pepped up. She always knows when I'm on the brink. And I'm never chasing her. She's always chasing me. And if you speak to a lot of the people that work at WHITEFOX, they will know that they never come to me first. I'm always the one that can see and spot a problem or an issue or an opportunity for them to grow. And then I see the fear in their eyes and I'm saying, you can do it. This is what you need to do. You can be pushed. You can do this. You can achieve that. That is what a coach is. A coach is the one that can see the talent before the talent realizes how to unlock it to its full potential.
Just going to pause us there for that. Can you hear that?
That's the freight. So if we're doing a buyer appointment at Marty's house, you got to know your timetable. Right? Because it's fucking very serene here, apart from when that V line comes through, chugging.
Is that a train?
That's the chugger. That's taking you straight out to Terralgan, ladies and gentlemen. Straight, going all express all the way through to Moe.
Oh, that's so good.
It's funny because what I actually thought Frank was doing was I gave my answer and I thought that he may have just heard one of the best answers he's ever heard on the podcast. And then it's like I stopped him in his tracks, but it was actually the train on the tracks.
A quote that I heard you say, which is systems will set you free. And I want to get really kind of micro on this in terms of your business and what you've done, which is, we know all the obvious systems that can be put in place in a business, but what's something a little bit abstract or maybe a small detail that you've created in a system that's created you a disproportionate return?
I'll give you an example. It's a really good question and it's quite relevant because I've just had people here from Interstate for another office that we're opening. And, part of the onboarding of the office is, they meet the team, they meet the leaders, very informal, but we touch on all the important stuff. How do the sales meetings work? How do the weekly huddles work? How does back-end processing work? Who does the trust accounting? Who does the the contracts, who runs the social media, who edits the videos, who films the videos, all those bits and bobs. But an example would be one of the teams that were here were so intrigued that there was never talk of GCI. There was never a leaderboard. There was no TVs in the offices showing who's at the top and who's at the bottom, which they were so surprised because that's one of the biggest breeders of anxiety within their offices, is knowing where they sit on that ladder and that they are being judged by that business owner. And with White Fox, whether you're writing 3 million or whether you're writing 300,000, if you do the wrong thing by another person and you're a piece of shit, whether it's 300 or 3 million, you're out. And a lot of that is bred through the competition or the cutthroatness of what the industry can be. I don't want that. And we've never had a business like that. We've got high performers in the business. We've got juniors in the business. They're never judged on a GCI ladder. They're judged in what they're building, how they're growing in their own numbers. So our sales directors get given the numbers every week, and it's up to the sales director to individually coach those agents one-on-one in their own time, depending on how that person's personality is best suited. Some people don't want to sit at a table and talk about the GCI of the week.
For those, for the punters who do not know what the word GCI is,
It is gross closed commission. Essentially, how much money you're making.
Yeah.
Right? And the way that it works is whoever's making the most money's got the most amount of power. And that's bullshit. Because I've met so many agents that write a lot of money. They're fucking idiots. Am I right?
yes, you are correct.
No, it's just people.
That's right.
Like,
it's just
okay,
people.
this
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
thing. There's some dentists that I love. There's some dentists that are fuckwits.
Correct, yes.
There's some great lawyers. There's some bad lawyers.
Yeah.
But to have that spread out for everyone to see and for everyone to be judged just by how much money they make, I think fundamentally there is an issue with that. Now, do I want these offices to perform? Do I want my staff to make huge amounts of money? Of course. But they're all at different stages. So then why do you have them all in the same pool? Why are they all on the same ladder? There's a problem there. Now, it may not be another agent's or agency's issue, but for me, it's just one thing that they pointed out that I thought, to answer your question, well, that's one little thing.
And where did that come from for you? Like, at what stage was that the way you were brought up in the real estate journey, and you just never had that, or is it just something that you felt in your intuition? This doesn't feel right.
I was always quite a strong young agent, and I knew that when I started, I knew who was doing the best and who wasn't doing the best. And for me, when I got to the top, I didn't like that heat of being the number one. Like, I thought it can also have, like, people treat you differently, because the way people feel and think about money is confronting. So, I've had it through my life, going from very humble beginnings to building something. People say you change and all these sorts of things. It's like, well, there's just a fucking house. It's just a fucking car. It doesn't really change anything. You still eat, piss and shit the same way. You still have all the same anxieties and all those sorts of things. So it just came from that, just realising it's not the be all and end all. It's real estate is a long game. A lot of people can come in and do very well in a very short period of time, but how sustainable are they? This is a career, not a job. So careers are meant to be lifelong.
Will this be your lifelong journey that you're on?
This?
As in, this...
Well, it's funny because if you had asked me, will I be in real estate when I was at university studying, I would have said no. But I will definitely invent something, whether it's a product or a service or a brand, whatever it might be, to market well. So I loved branding. I loved marketing. I loved people. And then when I fell into real estate, and so many of the best agents have fallen into real estate. It's never like something that they've thought of their whole lives to be. So to answer your question, will I always be in branding and marketing and leading something? The answer is yes.
So let's go for a little spitball. If you were to tomorrow started either a new business in this real estate sector or completely, what would you be doing differently?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I would do exactly what I did with White Fox, which was find a niche, find an opportunity. Things that were out of my control was the timing was perfect. And I jumped on the fact that social media wasn't massive in the game. Everyone was still super conservative, still super suited and booted. And the boutiques, were still considered, the small guys. So I can't say what I'd do any differently other than the fact that I'm very happy with what we did and I wouldn't change a thing.
Love it. I love it. That's you're allowed to say that, Marty. and so there was two words that stood out to me there, and I'm going to drill into one, and it's around opportunity, right? And as like an entrepreneur and as a person who wants to run a million miles or something, there's a saying which is like, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When you start the business, when things start to grow, all of these things come at you, all of these opportunities, and it becomes increasingly harder to choose which is the right opportunity and which is noise. Do you have a process today to help you decide what are the things that are truly going to move the needle?
Yes. So I've got a great CFO, I've got a great wife, I've got a great mum, and I've got people that have been in the business for 4 or 5 years plus. And they're my sounding boards. As a business, I can't really make, even though I legally can, make a decision and say to everyone, I'm doing it, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
You don't get people to buy into the business or the vision if you just do that. You need to have the collective on board. And if some people are sort of on the fence, for me, it's like, well, as long as 6 people are on board, I think we've got something here. So on the first Monday of every month, every sales director from every region, New Zealand, Perth, Melbourne, and beyond, we all meet on a Monday at 2:00 Melbourne time, and we table the last month's minutes, what we discussed to progress the business, or what needs to change in the business to make it better. And every person has a voice. They all speak, and I'm the last to speak. And then that's how decisions are made for White Fox.
And is that like the corporate board structure, or is it more like almost an unofficial board of advisors to get you?
It's no board of advisors.
Yeah.
It's every single person that's actually working in the business. Our advisors are Deloitte Private, NAB Private, and they're managed with us so that we're not being rinsed through our CFO. Which is great.
Yeah.
And it's lucky to have that, because otherwise these big entities, I mean, they charge in 6-minute little brackets. So you got to be pretty direct.
They sure do. I don't know if I ever shared you this story before, but when I was going through the process of selling my business, I would go, it was just myself and the CFO doing the transaction. And I would sit at a board table here, and this is not a word of a lie. There's 13 accountants there, ranging from $2,500 an hour starting to $4,500 an hour. And you get into this meeting, and I'd run the numbers. I'm like, there's a $35,000 meeting, right?
I know.
And you sit down and they're like, how's your weekend?
Yeah, it's like, shut up. Like, I love you, but just come on.
Yeah, and you're like, that's a 6-minute answer. That's like a $2,000 answer. I'm good. I'm all good. So, okay, so I understand then how you take those opportunities. Have you found that slowed you down in any way, shape or form?
Sped us up.
Yeah, why?
Because the advice is coming from people that are living it, breathing it, feeling it, knowing it.
Yes.
Not people that have learnt something from past businesses or past ideas that are almost trying to earn their keep by showing value. It's like, well, we know what we need, because that's not just people in that meeting that are sitting in HQ. That's people on the ground. That's in-house legal. That's marketing. That's CFO. That's myself. So it's a really nice broad range of thinkers in that meeting once a month. Then every week, those directors are sitting down with their sales teams on a Monday and a Thursday. So there's a lot of information. And at the end of the day, this is agency. This is listing and selling properties, right? There's only so much that can be done. So the real innovation for us, that comes through systems or different ways of thinking, or the timing of meetings and what's discussed in those meetings. And then really the innovation is in the growth. Where do we open? Who do we open with? What do those teams look like? What does the support look like? What does the stock that we target look like? That's the exciting part.
And is that the same crew? Is that like a different? When I think about that, I think more probably like that's a higher level strategy around pushing the whole business forward. Is that the same team?
That comes from me.
Yep.
It's then supported. So when I stepped off the tools, I went down all these different routes. How do we grow? Where do we go? How's it structured? What are the percentages? Where's ownership? What's this? What's that? Spending thousands and thousands with, lawyers looking at franchising and all these bits and bobs. And
that's actually really interesting. Do you know what else is interesting? the Eat with Purpose cookbook. It's part of my mission to raise $1 million for charity. This podcast is a part of that goal, and what you can do is like, comment, share, and leave us a review. Let's get back to the guest.
You have to look at what inspires you. So for me, it's connection. I love being connected with my family, with my wife, with my kids, with my mum, with my dad, and with my team. I cannot be super connected if I've got 2,000 agents.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to go down that path, I could have it pretty quick. I know that because I get DM'd every week. Can I open a White Fox here? Can I open up a White Fox there? I don't even fucking know where these towns are, what they're saying. I've got no idea. And that would diminish our brand, but it would give us huge presence. Huge presence. The amount of major brands that I can rattle off the top of my tongue where there's people willing to just walk out tomorrow to be White Fox is insane. But that goes against what makes me happy in business. So I'm not chasing scale through numbers. I'm chasing scale through influence. So I'm attracted to influential thinkers, influential doers, influential personalities within the game. And they're the people that I really resonate with because we connect at a level which is quite unique. And I've got that with the leaders of White Fox. They're not scared. They're not afraid to push the boundaries. They love the way in which we market. They love our vision on the industry from a digital perspective. There's a lot of things that I put down that they pick up and vice versa. So there's this natural connection. So that's the answer to that. You know, I can't even remember the fucking question was, but
You answered it perfectly. So it's
well,
fine.
as long as it's answered, that's great. But
And it's interesting as you start to talk about that. It's something that I have always seen of this brand and this business, and it's not unique to me, it's everybody, is you've always pushed the boundaries. And at the beginning it was really on brand and marketing. You know, I remember my first exposure to White Fox real estate was when we had a printing company, right? And I had a random real estate agent in the middle of kind of nowhere in our area say, hey, here's this DL flyer that's now the new A4 brochure. Can you copy that, right? And I think at the time you were in market for like 3 months. And I see that as something that happens for so many businesses when they're pushing the envelope is you very quickly then have people trying to copy as fast as they can. And I've seen some terrible versions of people literally doing exact replicas that I'm sure you're very aware with. So my question is, how do you continue to stay ahead of that curve? Like, what do you do year on year, and where do you get your inspiration to evolve? Because I know it's not within this industry.
yeah. So it's quite funny how I used to get so upset about these copycats, and I'd be pretty vocal about it. But what's really cool is that when they copy, they actually help promote your business.
Yeah.
Because people look at it and they go, oh, how's these guys trying to be White Fox?
Yeah.
So it actually makes you the OG.
Yes.
And I quite like it now. Like, copy as much as you want. Do what you need. So in terms of staying ahead of the curve of innovation, it's there's so many areas. It's in the way you shoot, the way you edit, the way you speak to a customer behind the scenes, what you show them, what your mantra is of the market. So how your team comment on the market. When someone says to an agent, oh, so what's the market doing? How does your team respond to that? That's innovation. Even just getting people on the same page, making sure that you're saying a consistent message, which is why your huddles are so important and your company meetings are so important, because the information that you give as the leader will infiltrate down into the grassroots of your locations. So little things like, for instance, our board. Our boards on properties were perfect. There was no issue. They were still leaps and, bounds in front of the game. But we changed them to these beautiful curves that were windows into the people's houses. And, that was one thing. Also staying true and not changing things for the sake of changing them is innovation. When you've got something that works, don't be a banana and go and change it, such as our black and white main photo. We own that space. We have had people begging us to change the photo to colour. But the reality is that, and this has come from REA, that a White Fox listing is 176% more engaged than any other listing online because of the click-through.
Wow.
And people click because they see the black and white, and then they swipe once and they see this unbelievably produced, colour, narrated video. The juxtaposition of not much to everything is almost like having that chip before the Big Mac. They complement each other beautifully. And that's our advertising.
176%. And
higher engaged than any other listing
the
in
next
the market,
closest.
Than the next closest.
And have you seen that same data as you enter into Perth, as you enter?
Yeah, it happens. And it happens because of not just one thing.
Yes.
It's the black and white. It's then the amazing video. It is then the style of photography, which we've got a formula to the way in which we shoot. It's then they see the deal. So they're then a little bit intrigued with the tone of voice. It's so many little things, and they're just the top 4 or 5. But there's so many little things that then capture the attention. The fashion of the agent in the video, they're not in a suit and tie. They're a little bit more casual, but still smart cash. So there's like constant things. Then when they come to the property, there could be a classic car there. There could be a beautiful open board that's made out of brass and leather, beautiful WHITEFOX candle being lit, some nice music. There's just things that are constantly happening that elevate that experience, because when they go to the next property, all we're wanting is for our client's property is a little bit front of mind. Stands out that little bit more. Oh, that black and white one. Oh, the deal. People go, oh, which one are you looking at? And these are just consumers that don't know what. Oh, the deal. You could never get a consumer to recite what the heading is of the properties that they saw on the weekend.
Absolutely not.
Big, beautiful French provincial.
Renovator's delight.
Renovator's delight. But they'll all remember the deal, which is one of our trademarks.
I'm well aware, Marty. So, okay. I love that it's backed by data, because I'll be honest, I've seen it. I've heard you talk about it, but then hearing the data behind that really, if I may say so myself, that seals the deal in the way I think about it. Now, I want to move and pivot to The Block. You're a big personal brand man. I've seen the journey that you've gone on through social media. I've seen the different brand collaborations you're doing, and it felt like an incredible big step and logical step. Has it paid off from what you thought it would be to what it is?
So I had a number of offers to do TV over the years. And for various reasons, I never really jumped at them. I was still very focused on making sure that the business was in a really strong position. White Fox, when the Block opportunity presented itself, I sat under that tree out the back, under the Lucky Bean tree with one of the founders, and he sat there and he said, look, when the Block started, we started in Sydney, and the very first judge that we ever had on the Block was a man by the name of John McGrath, who I'm sure you know. And he said it was amazing having that real estate intel. And, then the show evolved and we got further judges, yada, yada, yada. And I said, and he said, I'd love for you to bring back that real estate magic into the show and be a judge. And I said, you're kidding me? And he goes, no, I'm not. And he said, are you in? I said, absolutely. He goes, you don't even need to think. I said, mate, I'm in. Like, why would I need to think about this? Such a great opportunity. And that first season last year was amazing, because what it did is it silenced a lot of the people that would sort of bring me down behind the scenes. Bullying in school for standing out or having a voice or having an opinion, being bullied by the industry when we started, what's this guy doing in, chinos and loafers, like what a dickhead. And it's like, well, why does that make me a dickhead? Just because I want to be a bit more comfortable and not so stiff and, sales is about mirroring your customer. So my theory was, well, on a weekend, how often am I seeing people walking in suits? I want to be at everyone's level. So it's actually the opposite to being a dickhead. It's actually trying to be a little bit more it's bringing humility into the negotiation, into the first encounter. Hey, I'm just one of you. I'm not above you in my suit and tie, standing here on the weekend trying to tell you to buy a house. It's got nothing to do about professionalism because most CEOs are actually not in suits. So it's quite a complex topic, the fashion, because the fashion's part of the sale. The fashion's part of building rapport. Anyway, so that's that. But what the Block did is it actually brought an air of credibility to what I had been doing for so long. And to say yes to that was, for me, saying yes to approving myself. And it was just one of those moments where I felt really lucky. I felt like the hard work had paid off. It's not a role that you can buy yourself into. You have to earn the ability to be asked to do something like that. And there was no one else on the table. I said, who else are you speaking with? And they said, no one, we want you.
I noticed as you started to share that story underneath the tree, sparkle in your eyes and your face lit up. Bring me to that feeling of sitting next to him and hearing that it's you that's been chosen, because it looks like it was a very special moment.
Yeah, it was amazing. Mum was over, the kids were running around. When he called me, I was actually off grid in Gwingana, literally having like a bit of a mental breakdown because I was so cooked. I was so tired. I was so overweight. I was so drawn out from COVID. And Shura had sort of teed it up with Charlotte to send me away to just switch off. I turned off my social media. It was so amazing to think that I was the unhealthiest I'd ever been. I had long hair. I was fat. I turned off my social media and I was having an identity crisis because I'd spent the year off the tools and feeling really disconnected from my team. And I'd gone away to get off grid to reset. And the day that I landed in Gwingana was the time that he had actually left me the voicemail to come over. So I checked out a week later, feeling super inspired, had reset my mind, had landed on the changes that I'd make from a health perspective to get back on top of things. And I got to Gold Coast Airport and I saw this missed call from Julian. Hey, Marty, mate, love to catch up ASAP when you're free. And I was just like, this is so funny that I've literally I've ghosted him for 7 days. And I called him straight away and said, hey mate, what's the go? And he goes, I've got to see you ASAP. And I got excited. I thought, shit, something's happening here. And he brought over a bottle of French. And it was amazing because it had coincided with this new switch that had gone off in my head. I just finished reading the Nike book, Shoe Dog.
Oh, what a good
which
book.
I found so many similarities to my story, particularly with White Fox. Such an underdog. No one of big name and reputation would ever leave their agency to come to White Fox, because in Melbourne we're such a competitor. And what we've found in the last 6 months is that interstate we are so celebrated. We are so celebrated by so many brands and leaders interstate because we are not their competition, which is phenomenal because we are going to grow so strong around Australia with some of the best operators in Australia, with some of the big names in Australia, and then eventually that will trickle back to home base. We've got a great team here, but I'm telling you, I've had to train and build every single one because these people have come out of nowhere. They have come to White Fox and had their best years. They've come to White Fox and sold their biggest properties. They've come to White Fox and found themselves in their personality. We've unlocked their potential. Whereas interstate, it's such a beautiful feeling to actually go in and be the business brains, be the strategist, be the protein to their existing shake and actually make it fly. So to circumvent the whole conversation and to come back to the original question of what has the block done, it's given that credibility and belief that we're here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. I understand the market. I understand the game. I know how to lead and coach, but even better, I know how to build a business. And that's what these agents want. They want to build businesses.
Boom. Love that. You're a family man. And I want to ask you a question about being a father. What is the most important lesson that you want to bestow onto your kids that you think is going to set them up?
That they have to believe in themselves. They don't need to question whether or not they're good enough because they're perfect. They're able to think and execute and create whatever is in their mind. So I want them to know that whatever they can think, they can do. Because dad's done it. Mum's done it. Your grandparents have done it. And whether they want to achieve this or they want to achieve that or they want to go here or they want to go there, they're always here for me. They're always here. Doesn't matter what they do. As long as they know that they've always got me as their dad and Charlotte as their mum, they can achieve anything.
And what's like the daily practice for you to get that?
Being present. trying to be as present as possible. Do I play on my phone? Fucking oath I do. Do I ignore them sometimes? Of fucking course I do. Do I sometimes say to Charlotte, I can't be fucked with bath time? Like, can you sort this out? Yeah. Of course I do. That's fucking, that's real. But do I also, on the same token, have beautiful moments where I jump into bed and sing a song with Olive and, you know, jump in the bath and wash and condition their hair and comb her hair and blow wave it and, you know, make little bracelets. And every day I say to Freddie, I've got your first tooth with me. You're with me every day. You know, those sorts of things, you know. So it's creating, you know, these memories in their mind that they know that you've got their back. They want to scratch the back, fucking scratch the back. They want you to jump in the shower, go jump in the shower. They want to, you know, have an extra lolly, fucking just give it and just say, don't tell mum. You know, have these little moments. Like I regularly pull them aside and I'll grab Olive and I'll say, don't tell Freddie, but you know you're my favourite. And then 2 hours later, I'll grab Fred and I'll say, hey, Fred, don't tell your sisters, but you know you're my favourite. So at some point in time, maybe at their 21st, they'll say something and say, Dad, I know that you always said that you're my favourite. But then the other two will say, fuck off, you said the same thing about me. So, you know, and the thing with becoming a father as well is what you realise is, you know, your own parents are winging it too. Your folks are winging it.
Yes.
We're all winging it.
Yeah.
So you just wing it to the best of your ability and just realise how special they are. And when Freddie was born, I was just taken aback by having a firstborn son, and you know, I was in the gym with him every moment possible, and I put it all over social media. I showed that, you know, what you're doing now is what I did, and include your family and your business as much as you can. You know, I encourage for my team to bring their kids in, bring their dogs in, whatever it is. It's like, you know, it's your mikasa sukasa.
So good. And do you feel you're living up to that promise you wanted yourself to do?
I have zero regrets with how I am. Zero.
Love it. Now, there's a selfish question always on the Chew the Fat podcast. So as you know, this is part of my mission to raise $1 million for charity and write a cookbook called Eat with Purpose for high-performing people, right? And the book is going to be launching in October. And so I always ask a guest is like, help have a spitball problem solve with me. It's our opportunity to get inside your head to see how you handle another type of business, and also selfishly for me, get to see how you might be able to help. So my question is as follows. In October, I'm going to be running a sales competition. So leaning on my unfair advantage, which is, you know, I know a lot of people in the rest of their market, a lot of great salespeople, done a lot of great things for them over the years. Time to give back so we can all give back together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a 1-week competition. It's going to be a 10 grand cash prize that I fund for who can make the most sales of the cookbook. My idea is they'll be calling vendors or doing vendor gifts, whatever it might be, in order to get there, knowing 100% of revenue goes to charity. How would you, Marty Fox, who knows a lot about marketing and brand, how would you go about problem solving it to make sure there's enough oomph in the industry that people want to jump in and do?
And sell this book.
And sell this book.
And sell this book. What would I do?
So, what would you do in my seat to drum up enough enthusiasm to get that competition going and having enough punters in there doing it?
Selling the book?
Yeah.
So your question is, how do I sell this book? Like in a nutshell?
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Okay. If I was selling it and I wanted to be the biggest seller, I know what I would do.
Okay.
I know what I'd do.
What would you do?
How much are you going to sell the book for?
So it's going to be $99. So it's not a cheap cookbook.
It's not a cheap cookbook.
Yeah. It's for high performing people who are health conscious and time poor.
Okay.
And 100% of it goes to charity.
Okay. What would I do? I'd do a combination of like hitting the beat. If this was all I was doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If I was a salesperson.
Yeah.
I'd be hitting the beat, and I think you should recruit a whole bunch of young people,
Yeah.
like high school, university, whatever it might be, and do a call to action and get like 100 of them G'd up.
Yep.
Start with 100. Then what I'd say to these 100 odd people, and make sure you go through your own sort of legal sort of things to make sure that everything stacks up from a legal perspective. But I'd build them a really good sales pitch.
Yep.
And they can door knock, they can cold call, they can do what the fuck they want. They just got to get in front of people.
Yep.
Door knocking would be great. And give these young people territory so that you can monitor it.
Yep.
Right? Then what I would do is I would get these people out and understand how good this cookbook is, but also how important this charity is. And I'd have them holding it. So I get a whole bunch of things sort of printed, give it to them. I go to the door and I go, hey, how you going, Frank? It's Marty Fox here. Look, this is an unbelievable cookbook. Sorry, I know this is probably the wrong time, but can I just have 2 minutes for charity? It's for charity. It's always for fucking charity. If you buy this cookbook, which is $99, this is an unbelievable cookbook, by the way. Look at Frank. I mean, he's ripped, but these meals taste fucking amazing. But if you buy this, there's only a certain amount of people that are going to buy it. It might sell really well, it might not. But if you buy it, you're going to go in the draw to win groceries for the whole year. For the whole year. So we're going to do a deal where if it happens to be you, not only going to have a great cookbook and the $99 goes to charity, but there is a chance that you're going to win groceries every week up to $200 for the entire year. And you and a person here and there, there's going to be multiple prizes, but you're going to get free groceries so that you can continue eating a healthy life and you're not always getting takeout. It's $99. Would you like to buy it? And you'll fucking sell it because you know what? If the person that you've hired to sell is really nice, it's got a good EQ, I'm just throwing numbers, but literally like you buy this book, it goes to charity and you go into the draw to win free groceries for the year. Because all you hear on the news, doesn't matter where they live. Hey, I'm living in Toorak, but I tell you what, look at the fucking bench. That is full of groceries from Milk Run. That shit is like thousands of dollars. And it's just shit that 2 years ago was hundreds.
Yeah.
So you're pulling on something that's like in people's face at the moment, the cost of groceries, like, and everyone hates the fucking cost of groceries. It's like buying fuel and recharging your battery on your phone. You just hate doing that shit. That would be like my line of inquiry of put it out there, joke about the fucking state of the economy and the cost of goods and yada, yada, yada. Buy the book. And you've got to do it in blue chip suburbs. Yes. Because you're not going to sell a $100 book to fucking anyone. Yeah. But it's also the fact that those people that have the money are also the biggest tight asses as well. And they hate the cost of groceries. So you can have a little bit of a joke about it. But yeah, I'd just get a really awesome group of salespeople out there, build some great content online that they can order it online and they can go in the chance to win free groceries. And do they have to get something for free? Not necessarily, but everyone loves something for free. So make sure that there's something for free, even though they're giving to charity.
I love it. Mate, this is why I love doing this, because it's like a collection of all these bright minds giving me an idea and I build out this map of it. That was epic.
And it could be a dog shit idea, but at least I've given you something.
No, that's right. Can I write that down as dog shit? 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
I've noticed recently you've started a podcast with the Fox.
Yep.
What was the driver behind that?
For ages, everyone was like, "Oh, you should do a podcast." You should do it. And I didn't want a bar of it because I didn't want to have to think about it, organise it. And this goes back to your question earlier about how do you innovate and grow and so forth. Well, it became somebody else's problem in the office. So I could deliver, but I didn't have the brain capacity to be able to execute it and pull it off. I can walk in and sit down and talk because that's my comfort zone. I have got the answers to the best of my ability and I'm comfortable with saying them, even if they could be wrong. Okay? What I couldn't do was fuck around with the camera, the setting, the editing, the posting, the this, the that. That for me, couldn't be bothered. So Shura and Taylor, my brother in marketing, have pulled it all together and away it goes. So I'm thankful for them that they've been able to bring it and take it to the market. And I'm getting so many messages from people just saying, oh, I got this great nugget from that one, or I learned something from this one. Can you keep doing them? So I'm not always with someone. And it's funny that the ones that have performed the highest in the back end have been the ones where it's just been Shu and I literally having a yak. So I know that there's interest in the way that I think and there's rapport with the people that are following.
And is the idea behind it another step in that personal brand play for agent recruiting, or is it more for your like vendor business? Like, what do you think that from a strategic point of view that podcast sits in which space?
When you do something, expect nothing and you gain everything. That's what's happening. I'm gaining so much from it and I've expected fuck all.
Fucking oath. I love that. One last question. I know we're only on phase 2 of your journey. We're just getting started. It's something I have heard over and over again through your message, and it fires me up every time because I feel like for the next 10, 20 years, you'll be saying the same thing. You're only just getting started and it's an awesome place to be. But as we look back at the career and the life that you've had today, What's the thing you're most proud of
Freddie, Olive, and Bonnie.
apart from them?
Seeing the growth in the people around me and seeing things like Lana buying that first property and now living in her $4 million property and driving her dream car and going on holidays with her husband, and Rory, our CFO, buying his house around the corner here in, the blue chip area of Melbourne, and marrying the love of his life over in Wanaka. And then my wife able to do what she wants to do because of the work that we've put into this business, and the growth of all these other people and agents that are important in my life, and within their own realm of success, they're hitting these goals. That's the key. When you've got so many people that are able to reflect on their own growth, and it is because not only of their belief in themselves to be able to get up every day and perform, but for the platform that I've invented, that they've jumped in and they're experiencing the success. That's the key. I can look at the house and I can look at the car and I can look at the watch and all that sort of shit. I was always going to have it. Whether it was in real estate or not, I knew that I was a worker. I was consistent. I'd always do the right thing, and I always knew that I'd be successful. Always knew that. From the age of 10, I knew that I'd have all the things that I've got now. None of this is a surprise to me. But seeing everyone else get that success, that is amazing, and that is something that I couldn't have fathomed. So that's what I'm the most proud of.
I love it. Marty Fox, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, you're welcome back anytime.